Shopping malls are a fun part of the holiday tradition, but not so much when you're stuck working there, especially all night long. But what happens when an unspeakable creature finds itself on the loose and seeking refuge, and now it's there with you?
What's that? You want to be scared? Come with me. You will experience tales of horror, ghosts, and death. It is not recommended for the weak at heart. Listen in the dark. It's more fun that way. This is Weekly Spooky.
Hello, my spookies. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for a little spooky in your weekly. I'm your host and narrator, Enrique Couto, and we have quite the special show for you tonight. It's a novella-length episode, so you get extra frights as we head back to Strickfield, this time at the Towne Centre Mall, where some young kids are getting into trouble and then getting into something a little more dire after that. But before we get to the story, I want to say thank you so much for listening, especially during this holiday season. You've probably noticed we have a lot of bonus content coming out. Well, that's because we know that while the holidays are a time of peace, love, and joy, a lot of you out there are working hard every single day to make the holiday happen for yourself and your loved ones. So I want to make sure you have something fun to listen to as often as possible. Tomorrow we'll have a special bonus episode with my good buddy and Do You Even movie co-host David Denoyer, where we talk about the best of the best in Christmas horror movies for your holiday viewing. So make sure you don't miss that. And on Friday, there'll be an episode of Cutting Deep into Horror all about Silent Night, Deadly Night, the classic Killer Santa film. So, with all that said, if you love what we're doing here at Weekly Spooky, why not go to weeklyspooky.com and click on Patreon? For as little as $1 a month, you get a bonus Strickfield series called The Weekend, which publishes every 2 weeks. That's right, a totally exclusive Strickfield story just for you, and it's about the length of a short novel. Now, if that isn't a reason to sign up for the Patreon, I don't know what is. So head to weeklyspooky.com for everything and anything about the program. But now, my friends, the chill is coming through the air. It's about time we head to Strickfield for the mall overnight. So, let's get to it after these quick words. The Mall Overnight by Rob Fields. Prologue. Just outside the Strickfield village limits, in an old mansion that was thought to be abandoned, Vincent Frankenstein was in a third-floor laboratory and examining the humanoid experiment that was secured to a large metal slab. Stevie Quaid, his young assistant, stood ready to do whatever Vincent asked. "Are you sure there's enough sedatives pumping through the creation's body to keep her sleeping the sleep of the dead?" Stevie asked, looking like she hadn't slept in several days. Vincent regarded her. "I'd like to give you an honest answer, but we've seen how she adapts." Stevie groaned and stood in front of him. "I told you, we should have just destroyed her. Did you forget what she did when she got loose 2 years ago at Christmas time? Don't you remember how she wreaked havoc in Strickfield? Remember how she terrorized the mall north of the village? She nearly killed us several times when we tried to stop her." Vincent sighed. "I'm aware." Stevie raised her finger. "And let's not forget how long it took us to actually capture her again, and finally keep her this time." She growled and turned her back to him. "You were the one who put the head of a vampire on her when you built her." She turned back to him, really angry now, and stretched out her fists sideways. "Did it ever occur to you that we'd never be able to destroy her. Vincent sighed again, acknowledging her. I haven't forgotten my fatal miscalculation, Stevie. He could see her heaving now. She put her finger in his face. It took us nearly midway through this last October to finally capture her and keep her. We threw everything we had at that creation. We even tried killing her by using vampire methods. Unfortunately, her monster side renders her immune to all that, even sunlight. We can't even behead her. When Stevie turned her back to Vincent, he came up behind her and put his hands on her shoulders. I'm quite aware of what the creation has done, my dear assistant. I understand how she's affected your life. I know you wanted to destroy her. I still do, she assured him. I'm still surprised you entertained my idea of trying to fix her. Unfortunately, I cannot fix her the way I'd hoped. I wanted to be able to replace her head, maybe just the brain itself, with a more positive one. I truly understand the horror that I've created and will have to live with the consequences of both my actions and hers for the remainder of my days on Earth. Ultimately, we tried doing things your way as well. Even that isn't working. Stevie slowly turned around to face Vincent. They looked each other in the face for a long moment. Ultimately, it was Vincent who concocted the most powerful tranquilizer ever made. It had taken 2 darts filled with it in order for them to finally recapture the creation. The two of them turned to the bandaged creation as the powerful tranquilizer continued to be pumped into her system. Ultimately, they agreed that if they could not destroy her, then they would keep her permanently asleep in the laboratory. Vincent could tell Stevie was still very much afraid. I can keep making the tranquilizer. You'll have to keep making it stronger and stronger, Stevie told him in a shaky voice. We've seen how quickly she can recover from both electricity and your previous tranquilizers. I even blew her brains out, literally, and that didn't stop her. Vincent hugged Stevie to him. Stevie came to be with him as a result of the creation's actions. Vincent had bandaged her up and took care of her. Since she had nowhere to go, she ended up staying with him and becoming his assistant. She still wasn't sure that she trusted him completely, but he hadn't turned against her in any way. He seemed to understand the great wrong he had done and regretted it each and every day. If anything, Stevie helped him out of loyalty for taking her in and caring for her. Stevie suddenly gasped, Vincent! Look! The creation just twitched. Vincent eased her aside and cautiously moved toward the creation. She had shown fear upon her awakening nearly 2 years ago. Shortly after, she had become angry and broke loose. It was only after seeing that the creation hadn't cast a reflection in a nearby mirror that he realized his great horror in putting the head of a newborn vampire on her. No matter what he had tried in terms of destroying her, it was evidently clear that she would never, ever die. I think she's dreaming, Stevie, he told her cautiously. What? Stevie snapped. Vincent came very close to the creation and watched her. He remembered she couldn't breathe like a normal person since she was undead. The creation continued to move and twitch uneasily as her eyes remained closed in a forced slumber. For a brief moment, her face seemed to convey the same innocence as it had done upon her initial awakening. He wondered if the creation still continued to run on pure instinct. Had she learned anything during her time on Earth? The creation was nearly 2 years old, but she did convey in her own way that she could understand things. The creation had been asleep for several days with a steady flow of the powerful tranquilizer Vincent created, specifically for her. This was the first time she had moved in several of those days. As Vincent moved to increase her tranquilizer intake, the creation suddenly stopped still. Then, her red eyes opened wide immediately. She looked right at Vincent and showed anger. She screamed loudly, then roared as she worked to break the reinforced shackles that held her to the table. "No!" Stevie shrieked. "Please, not again! Stop her, Vincent!" As a precaution, Vincent had the tranquilizer loaded into emergency pistols. He grabbed one nearby and shot her. The creation seemed to become drowsy almost immediately. Vincent shot her a second time, then a third. The creation moaned for a moment. Then she became angry again and screamed. Vincent fired his remaining darts into the creation, but they didn't seem to be having any other effect aside from making her drowsy. Stevie grabbed the other gun and shot up the creation with every dart, only to get the same results. For a brief moment, it seemed that the creation was on the verge of falling back to sleep. Suddenly, the creation broke the restraints on her wrists with one quick upward motion. The remaining restraints soon came apart as the creation finished breaking free. "Oh, please, no!" Stevie cried. The creation was fully on her feet now. The bandages covering her body made her almost look like a mummy. Only her head, hands, and feet were completely exposed. The creation stared at Vincent and Stevie and screamed so loud that they had to cover their ears. "Run, Stevie!" Vincent told her, running her way. The creation started after them, but she stopped and turned in the direction of the door she had escaped the mansion from the first time. Then she saw the nearby window and decided it was a better means of escape. She roared for freedom as she ripped the bars away and escaped through the window. She dropped all the way to the grass below and landed with the grace of a cat. The creation turned and looked upward to see Vincent and Stevie looking down at her. She sneered at them, knowing she had triumphed over them once again. Remembering everything from before, she turned and headed toward the village. The creation remembered to stay off the main roads and not let anyone see her. Vincent would have gotten his answers on how much more intelligent she had become since her birth nearly 2 years ago. The creation at least understood that she needed to stay ahead of Vincent and Stevie and not be recaptured again. Suddenly she remembered that place where she had entered the day after she was born. She made her way to Strickfield Towne Centre Mall, keeping out of sight as she did. It was dark when she reached her destination and saw there were hardly any cars in the parking lot. She crossed the lot and came to the loading docks. The lock to the dock door broke instantly when she slid it up and entered. She pulled the door back down and put it back into place. After some minutes, the creation found her way out into the main mall itself. It wasn't as brightly lit as the first time she had entered. Somewhere deep in her mind, she understood the mall wasn't open. Just the same, she herself was inside. The creation seemed to smile when she saw the clothing store nearby. She looked at her bandaged arms and body and knew she wanted real clothes. She walked to the clothing store and pulled up on the gate, breaking the lock to get in. As with the loading dock door, she pulled the gate back down. The creation was pleased at knowing she had the mall all to herself. After looking around and finding some desirable clothes, she began to undo her bandages. The next day. Perspective, Madeline Donnerly. Aw, man, how am I always getting myself into these situations? Probably because I'm me and Arial Mirren's Arial. Let me tell you what's going on. It's the first weekend in December, right? I'm up in the mouse hole, my bedroom, playing video games. I figured I was entitled to some unwinding after a hardcore Friday and acing 3 tests at school. I'm right in the middle of playing some Donkey Kong on the full-sized arcade cabinet. Yeah, I know. It's an old 1980s retro video game, but I really love playing it. Problem here is I ain't gonna get to play long. Next thing I know, someone's knocking on my door. "It's open!" I call out. My next-door neighbor and my buddy Carter Cross comes in and sees me playing. "Really, Madeline? You have a new sign on your door that says, 'Welcome to the Mouse Hole'?" "Yeah, I got a little playful with the 3D printer. What's up, buddy?" He sighs. "I think I just saw Arial Mirren lurking around our neighborhood." I groan and shake my head. I told you never should have posted that video. You know how Arial can be when you scorn her. Yeah, but you know she deserves it, Carter stresses. I stop playing the game and just look at him. Between you and Arial, you're both going to get me in deep, deep trouble. I smirk uneasily. Or did you forget I'm BFF to both of you? Now I point at him. And don't even get me started on how many times Arial was drilling me about you at her slumber party last night. I fold my arms in front of me. I told you not to post that video. I walk over to my computer and sit down in front of it. Carter sits next to me. I open up Facebook and see all kinds of notifications for Carter's video, and most of them are Arial. What happened? Arial's almost always stuck having to babysit her little cousin Stuart. Here's the problem. Little Stuart's 4 years old and gets into everything. If he can wreak havoc somewhere, he's gonna do it. What's more, Stuart's mom don't really do anything to discipline him. What's sad is he almost always gets dumped off on Arial. When that happens, Stuart just raises, you get the idea. Earlier this week, Carter and me are hanging out at Roth's Rings, a 24-hour donut shop and video game arcade in downtown Village. Carter and me get finished playing some games and we go to the counter. Carter says he'll buy me a cup of Death Wish's Ginger Dead for helping him pass Miss Rodolfi's science test. I'm just getting my cup and ready to savor it when we hear the commotion. Suddenly, little Stuart comes running into the place. Arial ain't too far behind. "Come back here, you little goober!" Arial yells. Carter and me are both giving each other weird looks now. Suddenly, little Stuart snatches my coffee and throws it at Arial. The cup explodes all over her. "Aw, man," I groan. But you just know Stuart ain't done there. When Arial's about to grab her cousin, he snatches up a slice of pie off of somebody else's plate and smashes it into her face as she grabs him. Wouldn't you know it, Carter got his smartphone out and recorded the whole thing. What can I do? Like I told Carter, I'm best friends with both him and Arial. Stuart runs around inside Roth's Rings and is knocking the little tables down next to the games, many of which have food and drinks on them. Just as Arial's grabbing and picking up Stuart again, he has a cream-filled donut in his hand and he smashes it right in her face. Anyway, I think you're getting the idea here. When Carter finishes the game, he gives me that look saying he's gonna post it to Facebook. I'm raising my hands in front of me and shaking my head fast. "Don't do it, Carter," I quickly tell him. Nothing doing. He posted it. The comment? "The little prince treats the princess to some treats at Roth's Rings." The look I gave Carter when he did it. No, I wasn't mad. Try scared. I was going to try not to have to go to Arial's slumber party last night, but Arial cornered me at school with Mona Abels and Bailey Downs and told me, "Don't you even think of skipping out on my slumber party tonight, mouse." She was rubbing her hands together. We are going to have such a nice conversation about Carter Cross, you and me. Like I said, Arial didn't break me, but I could tell she wasn't finished yet. I know Harmony Mirren, and she never forgives and never forgets when you embarrass her on Facebook like that. Getting back to now, I'm reading all the comments. I ain't gonna list them all here because there are too many of them, and there's some choice things I'd rather not repeat here. "Okay, buddy, what do you suggest?" I ask. Before Carter can talk to me, we hear both the doorbell and some hard knocking downstairs. "I know you're in there, Carter Cross!" We both hear Arial yelling. Gulp. "I know your parents aren't home, mouse," Arial continues. "I saw Carter come in here. You don't open this door right now, I'll just come on in myself." When neither of us answer, we suddenly hear the lock click.
Don't go away. Weekly Spooky will be right back.
I quickly turn to Carter. "Arial found the spare key. She's coming in." I shake my head quickly. Buddy. No way you two are fighting in my house. We gotta get out of here. Close the door." Carter quickly closes the mousehole's door as I'm opening my window. We climb out and hurry down the TV antenna. We quickly get into our garages and grab our bikes. Soon as we're both hitting the road, Ariel's shooting right out my front door. "You won't get far!" Ariel yells. Carter and me look at each other. Our bikes seem to be just fine. "What do you suppose she meant by that?" Carter asks. Suddenly, I got a real bad feeling and look over my shoulder. "Aw, man!" We both turn to see Ariel riding a moped. "Since when did she get one of those?" Carter gasps. "I don't know," I fire back. "She's got one now and she's catching up to us fast." We both look at each other and know we gotta lose Ariel. Carter calls over his shoulder. "Yeah, princess? Let's see you do some real riding." Carter and me pedal fast until we get to our turn. Then we turn off and ride through Gunter Square, a park not too far from our houses. Ariel continues to follow. Yeah, riding through flat grass ain't gonna stop a moped. Once we're out of the park, we pedal fast and come to another turnoff where we know Ariel can't follow. Carter and me are doing some stunt riding on our mongooses. I actually snicker a little when I'm thinking about how I'd rather be driving a real car like I did on Halloween night when we were facing down the ghost of Abigail Tomlin. After a few twists and turns, we both come out on another road. "Looks like we lost her, Madeline," Carter said. Then my mousy sense, my tummy, starts aching again. I look over my shoulder. "Wrong!" Carter looks where I'm looking. "You gotta be kidding me." "Let's move," I say. "Yeah, you just keep riding your little bikes," Ariel yells. "You'll never lose me." We keep doing our stunt riding and put distance between us and Ariel, but somehow Ariel keeps sticking with us. I think it's safe to say she knows Strickfield just as good as we do. "Man, that girl never gives up," Carter complains when Ariel finds us again. "Told you never should have put that video on Facebook," I tell him again. Then I see the road ahead. I think I got a foolproof plan to lose Ariel this time. Carter knows what I'm thinking. The old Railroad Street Bridge. Let's do it. Carter and me pedal fast and soon reach the downward slope. We both jump the little hill and are riding on the concrete angle. Before long, we're off it and riding right beside the Castalia River. "We could ride to Indian Hollow Road," Carter says. I quickly tap his shoulder and point upward. Ariel's riding on the upper part of the hill by the railroad tracks. She's waving to us to let us know she's still here. "I can't believe this," Carter groans. "What do we got to do to lose her?" "I've got one more plan," I tell him. "It's gonna be a long shot." Carter and me keep pedaling until we're going underneath the Main Street Bridge. I quickly jam on my brakes. Carter does the same. Then he sees me turning around and follows me. We're pedaling in the other direction now. Then I remember the part of the Castalia River that's shallow. We get off our bikes and get across the river fast. Once we're on the other side, we get back on our bikes and pedal fast again. We ain't hearing Ariel's moped now. "You think we lost her?" Carter asks. I shake my head. I ain't saying nothing till I'm sure. We skip coming back up at Old Railroad Street and keep going until we reach University Avenue. We take a few of the trails made by bikes like ours and soon come back up onto the road. "No sign of her," Carter says. Suddenly we hear that sound and realize Ariel's caught up to us again. Oh man, we are so dead. Perspective, Carter Cross. Madeline and I both look to see a dirt bike speeding right past us. We both breathe easy knowing Harmony Mirren ain't nowhere around. "Looks like we're gonna be okay," I say. Madeline gives me that look now. "So now what, buddy?" she asks in her mousy voice. We're riding for a little bit before I tell her what I'm thinking. Well, I'd say going back to either of our houses is out. What's to say Ariel won't be waiting for us there? "Well, we can't stay out here all day," she says, "and not just 'cause it started drizzling. It's cold out here." "We could go to the mall," I throw out. "I don't think Ariel's gonna find us out there." "Not an actual guarantee, Carter," She sighs. Okay, we'll go to the mall. I gotta get something hot to drink, coffee or hot chocolate. I'll pay, Madeline, I tell her. I'm really sorry you got in trouble with Arial. That wasn't supposed to happen. She gives me her usual smirk that says, we're still buddies. Then she says, just give me an invitation when you and Arial get married after you graduate high school. I groan and point a shaky finger at her. You always gotta go there. Come on, buddy. This is me you're talking to here, Madeline tells me. I know you really like Arial. I mean, you got her pic on your phone, and I'm pretty sure she likes you too, so why don't you just ask her out? I shake my head. It's one thing for me to like Arial, but I ain't giving up to her. She can call herself the queen bee at Strickfield Junior High all she wants, but I ain't bowing to her. I can't believe she's got everybody else doing things for her. Then she expects me to fall in line and go along with it? Not happening, Madeline. At least now I'm not alone. But you still like her, she states. Okay, yes, I like her, okay? I point at her. Just don't be telling everybody about it. I don't think I gotta. I'm pretty sure everybody in our group knows. No, I didn't tell them. Again, just ask her out. I'm sure she'll say yeah. I shake my head. You think Princess Arial's gonna want to go on a date with me after that video I posted of her? Way I'm seeing it, buddy, Arial ain't gonna stop until she's caught up to you for that video. Maybe she didn't get you now, but we gotta go back to school on Monday. Guess I got 2 days then, assuming she don't catch up to me before that. Madeline and I make it out to Strickfield Towne Centre Mall. We chain up our bikes and head inside. You'd think they'd have the Christmas decorations up by now, I say. I mean, don't they usually have them up by Black Friday? Madeline points in a few places. They got some up. They also got a Santa house in Center Court, like they do every holiday season. You're right, though. How come they ain't got a lot of decorations up? Madeline and I walk the mall. November and December are the 2 months out of the whole year that our mall looks like a grand opening. I mean, nearly every store is filled and open. There are also a lot of kiosks set up. Before and after those months, the mall maybe has 1/4 of the stores and a lot less foot traffic. People keep saying it's going to close up for good, but it hasn't yet. Then Madeline and I see a woman who owns the mall herself. Harmony Mirren. She's standing over at Center Court and greeting the kids to let them see Santa Claus in his house. She really doesn't look that old, like she's not too long out of high school. I know she inherited the mall from her parents and has a little baby girl of her own. I wonder what relation she is to Arial. Madeline and I reach Center Court where the food is also located. We go into Caffeine Junction and get in line. That's when I start laughing. What's so funny? Madeline asks. Being in here's making me think of Roth's rings, I snicker. Come on, you thought it was funny too. Watching little Stuart Mirren at his worst? I mean, it was like watching a cartoon. Madeline does laugh a little. Then she says, you know, at the same time, I feel sorry for Arial having to get stuck with him all the time. I know he really does drive her crazy. When it's our turn to order, I get a hot chocolate. Madeline orders that Death Wish gingerbread coffee. I pay for both of us. As soon as we get our drinks, we head back out into the mall. Carter! Maddie! We hear someone calling out. We both turn around to see Richie Horton and Brian Chunk. Horton! Chunker! What's going on? I ask. Horton and I are just hanging out today, Chunker says. Chapman's doing stuff with his mom and dad. We're supposed to meet up with him later. He's the husky guy who's always wearing cargo pants and an open Hawaiian shirt over a black t-shirt. I didn't want to stay at home, so I texted Chunker, and here we are, Horton says in his squeaky voice. He's the really skinny kid with the circular lens glasses. Suddenly, Madeline grabs my wrist fast. I'm about to ask her what's up when I see where she's pointing. Now, the four of us are looking right at Arial Mirren. who's now got her eyes locked right on me. Arial points right at me and smiles sweetly as she's approaching us. Soon, she's right in front of me. "Hi, Carter. You really should just lay down right here." Her face suddenly turns monstrous. "Because you are so dead." Perspective, Arial Mirren. I've got Carter Cross dead to rights now. I've got to hand it to them. Losing me the way they did, I'm guessing Mouse was probably the one who came up with that plan. As far as I'm concerned, she's guilty by association. That means she's getting hers too. "Arial, there's plenty of security guards here," I hear Mouse say. I point right at her while I'm still looking at Carter. "I'll be with you in a moment, little mousy." There's already 2 mall popos looking our way, guys," Richie Horton squeaks. "I'd rather not have to explain to my mom why we got busted, if it's all the same to you." When Carter tries to slip away from me, I quickly get right back in front of him. "You have no idea how much I'd like to kill that little goober of a cousin I have. But when you record videos of me and the goober and post them to Facebook..." "Oh, no you don't." This time Carter tries pulling that trick that Mouse pulled on Halloween night. Mouse tends to drop to the floor and then move in between my legs to escape. In fact, that's how she escaped from my sleepover last night. Problem is, Carter telegraphed it. Also, he's nowhere near as small and thin as Mouse. I get on Carter's back. "No way, Carter, you are mine." But Carter suddenly surprises me by holding onto my legs and lifting me up. He easily gets back to his feet, and I'm stuck fast on his back and holding on. "You're not getting away from me, Carter," I declare. "I'm killing you right here and now. You do not get away with what you pulled on Facebook." "Gee, princess, are you putting on weight?" Carter sneers. "Must be all those pies Stuart's been feeding you. A few more and you can join the guys' wrestling team at Strickfield High." I growl and grab 2 handfuls of hair. "Guess I'll start with you." Carter groans. "Get off me, princess. Go on back to your castle inside your wall and leave us peasants in peace." "Guys, come on, those guards are really looking our way now," Mouse calls out. And then I feel arms moving around my waist. I cry out when I'm being pulled away from Carter and know Brian Chunk's got a hold of me. After he sets me down, I quickly turn around to confront him. Chunker points right at me now. "That's enough, Arial. We got all kinds of security guards looking right at us. And Horton's right. I know I don't want to be explaining to my parents why we got arrested here." I put a finger of my own in Chunker's face. "You do not ever touch me, fat boy." Chunker shakes his head. "You do know I'm not afraid of you, right?" Then I give him my wicked smile. "You should be. Or did you forget I'm Arial Mirren?" Chunker raises his hand in front of him. Okay, you're right. I need to learn my place, right? That's what you keep saying." Suddenly, he grabs me and holds me to him. "Run, you guys, go! Let go of me, Chunker!" I yell when I see Carter and Mouse running for it. "You guys, the mall popos are on us now," Horton warns us. Chunker lets go of me now. My fists are tightened. Then I growl and point right at Chunker. "Oh, you! As I'm ready to vent my anger and frustration with one of my trademark screams, Chunker quickly grabs my hand and holds it. I'm really growling now, and I'm ready to claw at him. "Listen, Arial, how about I take you to the food court and buy you a Coke?" Chunker asks. And just like that, I'm not even mad at him anymore. All right, I reply. Just as the security guards are almost on us, Chunker raises his hand. "It's okay, I'm just taking my girlfriend to the food court. She's having a really bad day." The guards look at each other. Then one of them says to us, "We've already got enough on our plates here with it being a Saturday in December. Be respectable while you're here. Got it?" "Yeah, we got it," Chunker quickly agrees. We start walking away from the guards. "You don't make good on that Coke, and I'm gonna claw your eyes out, then Carter's," I tell him on no uncertain terms.
You're not safe yet, Weekly Spooky will be right back.
Now I shove Chunker, and how dare you call me your girlfriend? Hey, the guards believed it, didn't they? Chunker stresses. Then I realize Chunker's holding my hand. You're skating on very thin ice with me. The next thing I know, we're at Scotto's Pizza in the food court. Large Coke, please, Chunker tells the cashier. Before long, Chunker lets go of my hand and gives me the drink. I pop the top and drink that sweet, bubbly slice of heaven. Then Horton gives me a weird look. Why do you like Coke so much? I stop drinking and look at him. Because Mom never lets us have anything other than diet soda at the house. That's why I'm always sneaking off to drink the regular stuff. Or steal Carter's. I take a few more drinks and look back at Chunker. Okay, I guess you get to live. Geez, Ariel, not even so much as a thank you? Chunker says. I look him in the eyes now. I think I'm going to call this a respect offering. You, Carter, Bill Chapman, and this beanpole here have yet to show me respect at my school. Chunker laughs a little. It ain't your school. Now, I know I can say we respect you as a person, Ariel, but we're not going to call you the Queen Bee. Horton raises his finger. And you're not going to order us around either. I look from one to the other. You two are going to know your place at my school one way or another. Arial Renaissance Mirren, a voice I'd really rather not hear today, calls out. Chunker, Horton, and I turn and see both my mom and Aunt Margaret. And then my stomach drops when I see my aunt has Stuart in her arms. What do you want? I ask Mom. She points right at me. I want you to always have your phone turned on. I should never be directed to your voicemail. Then she snatches up my Coke. And I told you, you are never to drink these. This is how you put on weight. Do I look like I need to be on any kind of diet? I fire back. Now Mom points to Chunker and Horton. Go away. But I turn and grab both of their wrists. No, these two are my friends, so they're staying with me. And then Aunt Margaret sets Stuart down right next to me. That's fine. The three of you can keep an eye on your cousin then, she says in the absolute most snooty voice I have ever heard from a Mirren. I shake my head. You are not sticking me with Stuart again, Margaret. Why can't you keep that rotten goober with you? Aunt Margaret looks like she's ready to rip into me. I'm ready to fight back, but Mom's quick to get in my face. You will be watching Stuart as of right now. Margaret and I have to go to Erie City for an emergency meeting regarding my latest computer game. We'll be gone the rest of the weekend, so you will be keeping Stuart with you and watching him. Do you understand? That's when little Stuart gives me his mischievous look. I look right at Aunt Margaret. I mean it. Take your goober son to Erie City with you. I am not ever watching him again. All he does is get me into all kinds of trouble. Aunt Margaret chuckles. Not my problem as of right now. Then she gives me a scornful wave and sings, Ta-ta. No! I scream behind them. I want to run after them, but little Stuart's already running away from me. I growl and turn to run after him. You stop right there, you little goober! I can hear Stuart laughing. He really knows how to get under my skin, and he's only 4 years old. Stuart is moving through the crowds of people. I'm trying to get around them to get to my latest problem. Seriously, why do I always have to get stuck with Stuart? Mom and Aunt Margaret both know he gets under my skin in the worst way, and they don't care. Stuart continues to laugh as he keeps moving. I'm growling as I keep trying to move around people to get to him. How can these people not see that goober? I'm almost on Stuart when some idiot crashes into me and knocks me down. Watch where you're going, kid, I hear the person say. Oh, now I'm really mad. I really focus and get around all these shoppers. I'm almost on Stuart again when I finally grab a hold of him and lift him off the floor. He turns and bashes me in the head with something that explodes all over me and gets me wet. My eyes are burning right through Stuart now. I hate you, you little... Lately, it just never fails. Somehow he keeps managing to douse me with pop. Stuart points right at me and laughs, his evil little kid laugh. If he were in his terrible twos, I suppose I could be more understanding, but he's 4 years old. I'm holding Stuart right where I can look at him face to face, and I'm about to find out that I've underestimated him. Again. The goober laughs his evil laugh again, and then spits a wad of gum right in my eye. I cry out and almost drop him. He manages to slip out and climb down my body to the floor. He's off and running again. Oh, you! I really don't care who hears me as I belt out another one of my blood-curdling screams. I'm way beyond mad right now. When I stop, the pain in my eye registers as I'm holding my hand there. You better go after your brother, kid, some idiot shopper tells me. I don't even look at the person as I point their way. You can just shut up! So I'm chasing little Stuart around the mall again. He leads me right to the end of the mall where the Best Buy is. And then, that's when I see Carter and Mouse, sitting at the fountain. My eye doesn't hurt as much right now, but at least both of them are working to where I can see Stuart running around the fountain and Carter pulling his smartphone out. No doubt he's planning on recording me and my troubles with my goober cousin again. Don't you even, Carter, I yell. I will kill you for sure and not think twice about it. Carter quickly gets up. Mouse is trying to tell him not to do it. He's recording a new video now. Hey, princess, I think I'll call this one Mall Santa Tells Princess Arial She's Been Naughty and is Chasing Down One of His Elves. I tighten my fists and belt out another scream, which lasts much longer than the first one. I'm not even aware that I'm running right at Carter when I'm screaming. In fact, I can't hear much of anything. And all I'm seeing is red when I crash right into Carter and take him right into the fountain. Perspective, Madeline Donnerly. Aw, man. You just knew something like this was going to happen. Carter and Arial both splash right into the fountain just outside of Best Buy. I manage to catch Stuart and lift him up. He laughs a real mean laugh and points right at Arial. Aw, come on, why you gotta be so mean, little guy? I ask. Just then, Horton and Chunker show up and see Carter and Arial splashing around in the fountain. These two ain't even trying to get out. Ariel's grabbing at him and throwing him into the water. Then she jumps on him. They both go under the water again and come back up. Horton leans in. Hey, mall popos are coming this way! Lots of them! Just stop! Chunker yells. But Arial and Chunker don't even hear him. They just keep having their water fight. I'm gonna kill you, Carter Cross! Arial belts out. Chunker reaches into the fountain to try and grab Arial, but she slips out of his hands and jumps right at Carter again. Get off me, you spoiled brat! Carter belts back. And then I see Horton seeing a good 6 security guards coming our way. But it's what Horton didn't see that's got my tummy feeling like lead. When I see her coming with them, you just know things are going to be a whole next level of bad. Horton and Chunker both see Harmony Mirren with them too, because they're yelling for Carter and Arial to stop. Aw, man, I never knew feelings were this bad between Carter and Arial. Even I'm trying to tell them to stop and why, but they just keep jumping on each other and throwing each other into the water. Now we finally stop yelling at Carter and Arial because it's too late. Harmony Mirren and the guards are here. That's when I feel Stuart pull my beret off my head. I quickly turn to the little guy and put it on his head. You can keep it on if you behave. Stuart laughs happily now. Guess I ought to be so lucky this little guy always minds me when he's with me. Hopefully I ain't assuming nothing when I say I think he likes me. Harmony Mirren don't even look mad when the security guards grab hold of Carter and Arial and yank them out of the fountain. Water's just dripping off them and all over the floor. Now, why am I worried about Harmony Mirren? Not only is she the owner of this mall, she's also one of the absolute meanest Mirrens I know. Harmony claps her hands together once. I'm so happy you two love playing together in one of my fountains. Then her fake happy tone quickly turns sour, fast. Bring them to my office yesterday! And before anybody can even so much as take a breath, Harmony points right at the rest of us. I want them too. Bring all these brats to my office. What? Chunker protests. We were trying to stop him, lady. Harmony points right at him. Save it, fat stuff. A security guard moves behind Chunker. Move it, kid. Just as another one's about to grab Horton, he raises his hands in front of him. Okay, I give up. I'm coming along quietly. Then Harmony Mirren points right at me. You too, Velma Dinkley, and bring that little rugrat with you. Aw, man, I mutter. Oh, I'm gonna love explaining all this to Mom and Dad. I'm sure Harmony Mirren's gonna call the cops and have us all arrested. Yeah, Harmony's all nicey nice to the customers, but you get caught doing something you shouldn't be doing in her mall. Aw, man. Yeah, this ain't gonna end well. Perspective, Brian Chunk. I keep telling the lady who owns this mall that Horton, Maddie, and I were trying to break things up between Carter and Arial. She just keeps telling me to shut up and move. My guess is she's gonna call her parents. No, back up. She's gonna call the cops first, then call our parents. I ain't worried about my own parents. All I gotta do is just explain to them what happened, and things should be okay at my end. I'm more worried about Horton, though. I'm surprised his mom's still letting him hang out with everybody, especially after we were gone for a whole year. What with everything that happened with Abigail Tomlin's ghost. Oh, Horton's mom wanted to keep him in the house forever and ever once we all came back home after Maddie and her friends saved us and brought us back to the mortal realm. Horton hardly ever gets confrontational, but he wasn't going to let his mom keep him away from the group. I'm wondering if she'll make good on that, though. If Harmony Mirren calls her up and tells her just what happened. Everybody's watching the guards escort us to the other end of the mall and down a side corridor. Next thing we know, we're turning off and going past a set of restrooms and into the mall office. Harmony Mirren shuts the door and locks it tight. Then she pulls these drapes closed. Finally, she sits down at her desk. Her face is so red now. You just know she's as angry as all get out. Harmony points to Arial first. Believe me, I know you're my cousin. She points to Stuart, who's standing next to Maddie now. And so's that rotten brat. Now she glares at Arial. But the fact that you two are family doesn't mean a single thing to me. In fact, I'm going to pick up this phone and call the police and have them come get all of you. She points to all of us as a whole now. Too bad none of you damaged anything in my mall, because I really want to press more severe charges on all of you. Before any of us can speak, she points sharply at all of us. Shut up! You do not speak unless I say so, and I did not say so. She clasps her hands together now and smirks. Oh yes, all of you rotten brats belong to me now. She unclasps her hands and picks up the phone. She's about to punch the number for the police. When she hangs up, her smile's really making me feel uneasy right now. I suppose I should actually be thanking all of you from the bottom of my heart that you created a disturbance in my mall today, she says softly. In case you haven't noticed, the mall doesn't look all jolly for the holiday season like it's supposed to. Oh, there are a select few things up and about like Santa's house, a few scenes, and even some of the Christmas hangings. However, there's still plenty more to do here to make my mall a winter wonderland. Now she's smiling really sweet. Yeah, she's that scary. I think I'm willing to cut you brats some slack this time, she chuckles now. But in no way am I letting you off the hook. Oh no, in fact, I see my Christmas decorations crew right here in front of me. It's very simple, really. You brats get to work the rest of the day and all night finishing up with the Christmas decorations. There are several Christmas trees that have to be placed at precise locations throughout my mall. There are even some scenes that have to be finished. Now, before you decide you're not going to cooperate, that's fine. Harmony puts her elbows on the desk and puts her chin on her fists. I can pick up the phone again, call the police, and have them charge you accordingly. Believe me when I say how much I love watching the police arrest brats who think they can run rampant in my mall. I've already had more than I can count on 2 hands arrested just this week. If I have to have you brats arrested, then I'm pretty sure it'll be more than I can count on my hands and feet. Your choice. When none of us answer, she tells us, "Oh, you may speak now."
You're not safe yet. Weekly Spooky will be right back.
"It wasn't," Horton starts. Harmony points right at him. "Save it, wimp. No, you, the fat kid, and the mousy girl weren't fighting. I'm so sure you were trying your absolute best to stop your 2 friends from fighting in the fountain, weren't you?" Harmony shoots up to her feet quickly. "But you didn't stop it, did you?" She calms down now. "The way I'm seeing it, you're all part of the same group. This means you're all guilty as charged. End of discussion. Now you have to make a choice. All I want to hear from the 5 of you is either you're going to finish with the Christmas decorations or you're not going to help and I can pick up the phone. That's it. Having said that, choices? What about this little guy?" Maddie asks her, pointing to Stuart. "What about him?" Harmony snaps. "If you can call somebody to come and get him, then okay. Otherwise, you brats had better keep an eye on him if he stays with you all night." "Can we talk about it amongst ourselves?" Horton asks. Harmony laughs scornfully. "You do not get to make requests, Tentpole. I will not ask you brats again. Your choices now." "You all know we're going to choose to stay and put up the rest of the decorations." "Splendid!" Harmony cries with glee. "That's the choice I would have picked myself. And now," Harmony explains what all we're supposed to do. She says that since she doesn't trust us, she herself will be supervising us to make sure we do the job on her level. Turns out her baby is being watched by her other family members, so she doesn't have to worry about getting back to her right away. When she finishes explaining everything, she smiles her devilish smile again. "I'm going to have so much fun with all of you," Harmony warns us. "Also, if any of you are slacking off or sleeping on the job, I call the police. Don't worry, I'm not a totally unfeeling person. I'll give you all a little break at every hour. I'll even let you have free soft drinks from the food court and feed you when it's time for meal breaks. And if the decorations aren't finished before the morning, then I call the police." Harmony points at Arial and Carter. "I suppose we really should get you two some dry clothes. I'll get you two some overalls to change into while we dry your clothes." She raises her finger quickly. "Those of you who have smartphones, call your parents right now and tell them you're spending the night here. When you're done, your phones get locked in this drawer until morning. You're here to work, not play." We're all looking at each other now. I don't know about the others, but I get the feeling we're in for a very long rest of the day and all night. Perspective, Richie Horton. The others are quickly noticing that I'm actually not minding being here so much. Even Harmony Mirren barking orders at us isn't really bothering me. We've been working together at going around the mall and hanging things from giant Christmas ornaments to draping tinsel to even bright and colorful lights. Since the mall's still open, people are seeing us slowly but surely making our way across. We started at JCPenney and are expected to end over by Best Buy. Harmony Mirren has been keeping a watchful eye on all of us. Even Maddie's got little Stuart helping her out with putting the animatronic scenes together. In fact, it was Arial who advised Harmony that it would be a good idea to let Stuart stay with Maddie to keep him out of trouble. When Harmony sees how Maddie's kind of playing with him to keep him occupied, she starts yelling at her. Arial quickly comes over to Maddie. "If I were you, Harmony, I'd leave Mouse alone. Believe me, you want her keeping Stuart the way he is. But if you insist on being all high and mighty, go ahead and keep getting on Mouse. When Stuart starts running around your mall and getting into everything, don't expect us to stop him." Harmony points right at Maddie. "Fine, Arial. She can entertain the kid." Then she says to Maddie, "Don't go too far out of my sight. I may need you to be my gopher." Maddie keeps entertaining Stuart. Come to think of it, this isn't the first time we've seen Maddie playing with him. He doesn't seem to like the rest of us, especially Arial. He really seems to like Maddie, though. He even does what she tells him, and doesn't get pouty with her about it. I also recall he's never once said a single word. At 4 years old, I'm sure he can talk. He just doesn't talk unless he has something to say. Probably to his mom. Harmony doesn't seem to mind us talking to each other as long as we're working. Right now, I'm helping Arial with hanging more tinsel on the ceiling. Chunker's working on getting the rest of another animatronic scene put together. Carter's putting up some more of the Christmas trees that were found in storage. I think Carter and Arial both look quite obvious in their navy blue overalls. Every now and then I see them giving each other mean looks. When we're at Strickfield Junior High, nearly everybody's quick to step aside for Arial, even the 8th graders. When it's said that she's the queen bee, it doesn't mean that she literally rules the school. It means she's the most popular girl there. When she does tell somebody to do something, they do it. When I said nearly everybody, the exception is Carter, Chapman, Chunker, and me. And lately it seems Mona Abels and Bailey Downs, the other 2 girls in our group, aren't so quick to do what she wants these days. We keep working on into the evening and right up until closing. We're nearly halfway through the mall when 10 o'clock rolls around. We've really put up a lot of decorations. Since we have to finish the rest of the mall, that means we've got a lot more. Believe me when I say Harmony hasn't taken her eyes off us for so much as a second. Even when she was looking at her phone, she was still watching us. When Carter and Arial started sneering at each other a few hours ago, Harmony told them to get back to work. Maddie and Stuart are back with sodas on a tray for everybody. She goes around and hands everybody one. I'm surprised Maddie's been able to keep Stuart occupied for as long as she has. When Arial tried to tell him to do something a moment ago, he nearly threw his soda at her. Maddie stopped him and told him he'd get thirsty later. Again, he listened to her. Harmony lets us take a break to enjoy our sodas. When you finish your break, get some more Christmas decorations out and keep going. I'm going to take Madeline and Stuart with me and make sure the entrances are locked up tight. She points sharply at the others. And if I come back and see you're slacking off... Harmony gets on her golf cart, letting Maddie and Stuart sit up front with her. Then they take off to go check the entrances. Like I figured, Arial and Carter start going at each other again. "I hate you, Carter," she snaps. He points right at her. "Hey, I wasn't the one who wanted to fight in one of the mall fountains. That was all you." She gets up and goes right to him. "Because you have to film me and the goober on your phone and post it on social media, letting everyone make fun of me." "Because you keep trying to order me around at school," he fires back. "Even when we're not in school, you always try to make me do things I don't want to do. You even drink up my sodas. I get that you're filthy rich and your family owns all of Strickfield Commons now, but that don't mean you get to order us around." "My school," Arial growls. "That means I run it." Carter stands up. Now he and Arial are looking each other in the eyes. You'd swear they're getting ready to throw down again, except Chunker comes in between them. "That's enough, you guys," he tells them. "If Harmony comes back here and sees you two fighting again, there's no telling what she's gonna do." Arial points right at him. "You keep out of this." Chunker turns and looks at her. "No, it's all because of you two fighting that we're in this mess. I really don't know what you're trying to prove with saying you run our school. What, are you trying to be a bully? 'Cause that's how I'm seeing you, Arial. Maybe that's why we scoff at you when you tell us to know our place at school. I'm just saying." Chunker turns away from her and sits back down to drink his soda. Boy, Chunker sure took the wind out of her sails. I mean, she looks pretty sad right now. Then she turns and runs away. "Hey, Princess! Harmony's gonna be back in a little bit!" Carter calls out to her, but Arial doesn't look back. I look over at Chunker. "Hey, somebody needed to set her straight," he tells me. Then he gets up. "Fine, I'll go talk to her again." He gets up and starts walking in her direction. Perspective, Harmony Mirren. I finally stop running when I get to a far corner of the food court and hide out of sight. I sit down and start crying. I thought I was really alone, but then I feel someone's there. I look up and see Chunker. "What do you want?" I snap. "Did you follow me to see me at my worst and gloat?" Chunker sits down across from me. "Hey, I wasn't trying to cut you down, Arial. But really, how do you think people at school see you? You know, being the most popular girl at our school doesn't mean telling people what to do." "What do you expect me to do then?" I ask. "I'm Harmony Mirren. Do you have any idea what that means? No, you don't. You don't know what kind of expectations Mom has for me, aside from making sure I'm always there when Aunt Margaret wants me to take care of Stuart. Not only do I have to keep that little goober out of trouble all the time, but Mom expects me to be a dominant in our family. She's expecting me to be homecoming and prom queens when we get to high school, the same as she did. Mom ruled her school with power, so she expects me to do the same. What do you want to do?" he asks. I wipe away tears with the back of my hands. I don't know. I do know I'm tired of always trying to please Mom, when I know she'll never be pleased. You're not a Mirren, you'll never know what it's like to have lots of expectations placed on you. Chunker smiles a little. "Hey, didn't you stand up to your mom on Halloween night? Maddie was telling us about it shortly after you guys saved all of us from Abigail Tomlin that night. If you don't want to live by your mom's expectations, then tell her that. You're supposed to be a dominant Mirren, right? Then be a dominant Mirren, but be your dominant Mirren." Now I smile at him. "You're right," I sigh. "I'll share something with you. Sometimes I wish I wasn't a Mirren. If it wasn't for my girls, including Mouse, I think I'd have lost my mind a long time ago." I take his hands. "Thank you." Before Chunker can reply back, we both realize we're not alone. At first, we're thinking Harmony found us, but it's some other woman. She looks huge. Her height, I'm thinking she's at least 7 feet tall, which would explain why the clothes she's wearing look like summer clothes. She has on a t-shirt that looks torn at the sleeves and jeans that could pass for capris. She's also barefoot, but what's really scaring the both of us right now is that her skin looks chalk white and her eyes are glowing bright red. We both scream when she shows us her clawed hands and the glistening fangs in her mouth. We get up and run for it. "Help!" Chunker calls out. "Arial, she's got me!" I turn and see that woman. I think she's a vampire, pulling Chunker into one of the double doors beside the pizza place. I duck fast when she throws a big trash can at me with one hand. "I'll get help!" I call out to Chunker. Then I turn and start running back to where the others are. Perspective, Brian Chunk. I'm trying to break free of this woman who's holding on to me, but she's really strong. If she really is a vampire, I'm gonna be in real big trouble here. "Let go of me!" I yell. "Help!" The vampire woman growls as she keeps dragging me along. Soon she opens one of the doors leading to the basement level. I remember we had to go down there to get some of the Christmas decorations. There's also a parking garage under a part of the mall itself. Now the big vampire's picking me up and carrying me downstairs under one arm. I know I ain't no lightweight, but she's carrying me like I am one. I keep calling out for help. I just hope Arial tells the others what's going on before I end up becoming food for this thing. Ugh. Or she makes me into something like her. Then I remember I was already not alive once before. That time when Abigail Tomlin brought Chapman, Horton, and me to the afterlife a year ago last Halloween. No way I was letting this giant woman turn me into a vampire. Seeing the woman's bare foot, I raise my shoe and stomp down on one of her feet. She growls and stops. That's when I break loose and run. The woman screams now. I don't even look over my shoulder. I know she's after me. I just know I gotta get out of here and get back upstairs to the others. Hopefully Ariel's warned them already. For all I know, they're probably on their way out of the mall. I'm turning the corner to open the door to get back upstairs. What? I quickly yell. That giant vampire woman is right in front of me. Then I remember, vampires can literally warp right in front of you. I quickly slam the door and run to another. Now I hear the vampire woman knock the door away and come out. She screams again, which really sends shivers down my spine. I run to the upward ramp and start making my way up. I hear the giant vampire scream again. It'd be one thing if she hissed or even went bleh, bleh, or something, but screaming like Arial Mirren when she's mad. Even hearing Ariel scream sends shivers down my spine. But she ain't a giant vampire woman. When I'm about to reach the top of the ramp, I quickly stop when I see she's right there. She looks right at me, and I feel her eyes. I can't move. I can't run. The last, it's glam. Then I think she's lifting me on her shoulders. Can't move.
You're not safe yet. Weekly Spooky will be right back.
Perspective, Madeline Donnerly. I thought it'd be hard trying to keep Stuart occupied all day. In fact, he's sitting on my lap right now. He points at the Christmas displays and is all happy and laughing. Stuart helped me put all of them together. All I had to do was point to what I wanted and he brought it to me. Harmony's just now bringing us back after making sure all the entrances are locked up tight. That's when we're seeing Ariel running out of the food court to the others. Help! She's shrieking. Help! The others are looking at her now. I can tell you Harmony ain't too happy when she pulls the golf cart right up by her. There is no reason whatsoever for you to be carrying on, Ariel, Harmony snaps. There's a giant vampire woman, she tells all of us. She got Chunker. Then she tells us what happened in the food court. I'm not making any of this up, I swear. But I can tell Carter ain't believing her. Suddenly, Ariel comes over to me. She takes my wrist and locks her little finger with mine. Pinky promise. I'm giving Ariel my most serious look right now. You say it's a vampire? Now Harmony grabs my arm. None of you brats are leaving this mall until all the Christmas decorations are put up. You understand me? None of you. I shake Harmony off me. If Ariel says Chunker's in trouble, then I'm gonna go help find my friend. I lift Stuart up and quickly get off the cart. I'm leaving this little guy here with you. You got a baby, right? So you ought to know what to do with Stuart. You stop right there, Harmony yells. I did not excuse any of you. I mean it. I'll call the police and have them here right now. Now I see Horton pointing and gasping fast. Maddie. We're all looking where Horton's pointing. Now Ariel's joining Horton. That's her. That's the big vampire woman who took Chunker. You, Harmony yells at her. I turn to her. You know that vampire woman, Harmony? That's the thing that trashed my mall and attacked my security guards on Christmas Eve 2 years ago. Harmony shrieks. I could never forget that face, that hair, or those eyes. That vampire woman looks like she's got a good 7 feet of height. Her red eyes are glowing bright even in the dark. She tightens her fists and screams. That's when Harmony turns her cart and drives off. Wow. Harmony really drove off and left us here, Horton says. That's a Mirren for you, Carter mutters. Hey! Arial yells at him. Then she slaps his shoulder. I'm standing right here, you bumpus! Carter looks kinda ready to stick his foot in his mouth. That vampire woman moves really fast because she's almost right on us. Scatter! Arial yells. Carter quickly takes Arial's hand as they run one way. Horton turns and runs another way. Then I feel little Stuart pulling on my pants pocket. I pick the little guy up and run in another direction. Wait for me! I hear Horton yelling. Guess he reconsidered which way he was going. Turns out I ain't gotta wait for Horton. He's running so fast his shoes are squeaking on the floor. I gotta quickly stop and put Stuart down. Then I squat. Get on my back, little buddy. Stuart again listens to me and climbs on. I lift myself up so Horton and me can run again. Much easier to carry Stuart on my back than trying to hold him. Can you see her, Maddie? Horton asks. Suddenly, the vampire woman appears right in front of us when she comes out of one of those side corridors, making us both scream. Never mind! Forget I asked! Horton shrieks when we turn around. What's real funny right now is that little Stuart is laughing it up. Yeah, I'm glad you're having fun, little buddy. Hang on! Horton and me scream when we hear the vampire lady shout. Then we round a few of the kiosks and head into the food court. Why are we running this way, Maddie? Horton asks. We gotta find Chunker, I tell him. They both came this way. What's really bad is I ain't even got time to try and find a mirror to summon Mary Worth to come and help us. Aw man, where'd that giant vampire lady come from? I'm almost thinking Lady Dimitrescu escaped from Resident Evil Village. When we're about to turn another corner, we're both screaming again when the giant vampire lady has her hands on our shoulders. She's flying! Horton shrieks. Down! I yell. We both fall on our bellies and let the vampire lady fly right over us. We quickly get back up. Glad little Stuart doesn't weigh much. The vampire lady lands and points right at us now. My children. Wow, she don't sound nothing like Lady Dimitrescu. Her voice actually echoes, and her face looks like the original Fright Night poster. Boy, do Horton and me ever scream. I remember telling Arial Mirren to give me something to be scared about just after we started junior high. If she's seeing me right now, she ain't never gonna let me live this down. Then I stop screaming when I hear little Stuart laughing again. Oh, you think this is funny? I ask him. The vampire lady licks her long, glistening fangs. My children. Horton and me both scream again and run for all we're worth. We run out of the food court and down toward JCPenney. We're hearing that vampire lady screaming as she's flying after us again. Really sharp claws outstretched. Hey, as long as Stuart's laughing, then him being scared is one problem we ain't got to worry about. We turn a corner and see an SUV that's being raffled off parked. I can't run much longer, Horton pants. Hey, that vehicle's got mirrors. I can call Mary Worth. I never thought I'd ever be so glad I'm possessed by the spirit of a white witch from the time of the Salem witch trials. But just as we reach the SUV, it suddenly comes off the floor. The giant vampire lady's lifting it right above her head. No! Escape! She growls. No way, Horton squeaks. Yes way, I squeak back. And then I see the bikes Carter and me rode here, just outside. The only way Horton and me can use them is to... I got an idea, Horton. At first I think about handing Stuart off to Horton, but I ain't sure how he'll behave with him. Nah, I gotta keep this little guy with me. Hang on, Stuart, I tell him. What are you doing, Maddie? Horton shrieks when he sees me running around the vampire lady. Now Horton and me are on either side of her. Yeah, you keep having fun, little man, I tell Stuart when he's still laughing it up. Now I call out to the vampire lady. Hey! She turns around to face Stuart and me. Bet you can't hit me with that. Maddie! Horton gasps. Really? Then my plan totally backfires. The vampire lady drops the car so that it bounces on its tires once and remains parked against a wall. Then she snatches Horton by his shoulders and lifts him up. All he can do is smile and laugh a little. Then he waves at her. Hi? "Baby," she says. "Yeah, I'm your baby," Horton quickly agrees, probably hoping she don't lower him down and bite him. Then I see the door on the SUV is open. Hey, that's right. The vehicle was unlocked so people could look inside it to entice them into filling out a raffle card. I inch my way over to the vehicle. Stuart gets off my back and climbs inside. Then I get into the driver's seat. Man, I'm hoping there's keys in this thing. It's gonna be a long shot, but I pull down the sun visor like I did on Halloween night. Nope, no keys. Then my little buddy taps my leg fast. I turn to see him handing me the keys. "Aw, thanks!" I cry, taking him off his hands. Man, I sure hope this works. I put the keys in the ignition and crank it. That's when the giant vampire lady turns and looks right at me. Now I'm feeling a little weird. Then I quickly shake my head. "Oh no way, I'm letting her glam me." "Come on, start, will ya?" I beg the car when all it's doing is cranking. Then I call out the window, "This is the part where you start running, Horton!" He don't need me to tell him twice. And just when that giant vampire lady's almost on me, the car roars to life. Time to play some more Gran Turismo again, just like on Halloween night. Okay, Mousy, time to show this big, ugly vampire some driving skills, I say to myself. When I hear Stuart laughing at all the fun he's having, I know I gotta keep him entertained. I take a deep breath, shift the gears, and floor the gas. The tires are squealing on the floor as I'm backing up. When I'm out in the main area, I shift again and floor it forward. Hang on, little guy. We're gonna get Horton. I just hope I can drive like our lives depend on it. Oh, wait. They do. Perspective. Carter Cross. Ariel and I made it out of the mall itself and make it back to the storeroom where the rest of the Christmas decorations are. After we piled stuff up against the doors, we got our backs to the wall and are sweating as we're catching our breaths. When we're calm enough, Ariel growls her usual growl and slaps me on the arm. Ow! Then I turn to her. "What's your problem now, princess?" She turns to me and pushes me now. "I can't believe what you said about the Mirrens. I was right there. I'm a Mirren." I raise my hands in front of me. "Okay, bad choice of words. I'm sorry. To be honest, I wasn't thinking about you when I said what I said." Ariel calms down a little. "Really?" I sigh. "Okay, yes, you're a Mirren, but you wouldn't have left us the way Harmony did. Cut me some slack here." She slaps my shoulder hard again. "You don't deserve any slack, Carter. Not when you keep making videos of me and that little goober and posting them on Facebook. And now that we're all here alone, just you and me, we can finish our fight from earlier. We both know you can't outrun me, right?" I look her in the face. "If we survive this, I'm still not going to treat you like you're the queen when we're back at school." She points right at me. "It's my school." "Whatever, princess," I snap. Then I turn my back to her. "There's just no talking to you." I raise my finger. "That's where you show you're a Mirren. It's always your way or no way." Then I see the pop machine with canned sodas and go over to it. I'm surprised they even keep one of these here in the storeroom. Looks like it's working. I dig into my pocket and pull some change out. Next thing I know, Ariel's right there. "Can you, I don't have any money on me and my smartphone's still locked in Harmony's desk. Please?" Well, I do like it when Ariel says the magic word, 'cause she don't say it very often. I plunk in my coins and let her get a Coke. I plunk in some more money and get myself one too. Sodas are like catnip to this girl. And it don't matter how mad she is, just give her a soda and she's calm and happy. Just like that. Ariel looks at me now. "You know, when we're at school, you could just bribe me with a soda. I'd probably leave you alone." Ariel and I are looking at each other now. I mean, we just can't take our eyes off each other. This right here is why Madeline gives me a hard time. Not in a bad kind of way, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I don't care what anybody says. I take a deep breath and just say it. We make it out of this. You want to go out on a date with me? Arial don't say anything right away. She don't look like she's mad. She takes a deep breath of her own and opens her mouth to give her answer. Suddenly, that SUV we saw out in the mall that's being raffled off comes plowing right through the doors. All the Christmas stuff we piled up against them just flies everywhere. Arial looks at me. Is that Mouse driving? Suddenly, that monster's flying right in. I'm quickly shaking up my soda when it grabs Arial. Just as Arial screams, I hold my can to the thing's face and pop the top. Soda just squirts out hard right in its eyes. The monster lets Arial go and screams. Just then, the SUV pulls right up next to us. We can see Madeline's definitely driving just like she did on Halloween night when Abigail Tomlin's ghost was chasing us down at Crybaby Bridge. Horton and little Stewart are in with her. Get in here, Mouse tells us. When I open one of the rear doors, Arial shoves me in and comes in right behind me. When she pulls the door closed, Madeline floors the gas and drives around the storeroom. Before long, we're back out in the main mall. I can't see her, Horton tells Madeline. Newsflash, you ain't gonna see her in any of those mirrors, she tells him. Vampires don't cast reflections. Arial gulps and turns around.
Are you afraid? Good. Weekly Spooky will be right back.
She nearly got us, Mouse. She just crashed into a kiosk, Arial shrieks. Yeah, I gotta get us to a mall entrance and drive right through it, Madeline tells her. Then she looks over her shoulder. Unless you don't. You can wreck this whole mall for all I care, Mouse, Arial tells her. Let Harmony sort it out. If anything, we're saving her life by leading that thing away from here. I love how you think, Madeline says, turning back around and focusing on her driving. When we get to the food court, she hits the brakes and makes a sharp turn. Hey, Harmony's right up ahead, Horton pipes up. Stop! Harmony screams in terror. Her golf cart seemed to have stalled out. What do you think, guys? Madeline teases. Arial growls again. I'd say just leave her, but I'd rather not have Krampus visit me on Christmas Eve. Santa could always leave some coal in your stocking, I joke, or some Diet Coke. Arial tightens her jaw and slaps my arm again. Shut up. Ow! Easy, princess, I laugh. Madeline hits the brakes. When we're stopped, Arial and I scoot over and let Harmony come in. When she closes the door, Madeline shifts gears, hits the gas, and backs up. What are you doing, Madeline? I ask. Gotta have momentum to get through those doors, she calls back. When Madeline shifts gears and floors it, Harmony's looking wide-eyed when she sees who's behind the wheel. Wait a minute. There's a kid driving? Pull over. Arial really growls now and points at her. You just shut up. My little friend up there can drive very well, for your information. Madeline raises her finger. And for the record, we're all teenagers here. She lowers her finger. Okay, maybe not little Stewart. Suddenly, we crash right through the main doors and are out in the parking lot. Harmony yells up at Madeline. You do realize you're paying for all the damage you just... Horton quickly says, we didn't have to pick you up, you know, especially considering how you just left us behind and everything. I mean, if you want to get out... Harmony shuts up fast, but it don't last. Wait a minute. We're not leaving. The mall exit is over there. I know that, Madeline says. We're heading down below to the parking garage to find Chunker. We ain't leaving here without him. She glances back at us. We ain't gonna get that much further anyway. Wasn't much gas in the tank when I started this thing. Harmony leans forward. How about you go get some gas, you squirt? Told ya, we ain't leaving our friend behind. Then she jams on the brakes. When we stop, she looks back at Harmony. You know what? How about you getting up here and driving, lady? Mouse, what are you doing? Arial chokes out. Let's just go fill the gas tank, then we can come back here and look for Chunker. At least we can get out of here on a full tank. And that's what Harmony's gonna do, Madeline says. I'm gonna go back in the mall and find Chunker. I'm about to tell her how crazy she is, remembering the crazy stunt she tried to pull on Halloween night. I'll come with you, Madeline. She points right at me. Nope, you gotta be a man and protect Arial. Arial shakes her head slowly. Madeline, I'll be okay, you guys, I promise. Just go, Madeline insists. When Harmony jumps behind the wheel, she pulls the door shut and floors it. The rest of us are looking back as Madeline heads back to the mall. The next thing we know, Stuart's coming in between us. He ain't laughing and having fun so much now. I think this is the first time Arial and I have ever seen how worried the little guy looks. Perspective, Madeline Donnerly. I make it back to the mall and start walking into the parking garage underneath. There's cars parked under here. Then I have a thought and look in a driver's side mirror and see Mary Worth looking back at me. Can you tell me where my friend is? I whisper. Certainly, Mary answers. The mirror changes. Turns out I ain't far from Chunker. That giant vampire lady's got him stashed away in the security station down here. Mary's face reappears. Be careful, Madeline. The one who has taken your friend is not far from you. And before I know it, that giant vampire lady is right on me. I hate when vampires can suddenly appear right behind you without warning. No! I shriek when she's picking me up. You are mine, the vampire lady echoes. I squirm and struggle and fight and thrash for all I'm worth. Problem is, this thing is way too strong and I'm just a little mousy. Now the vampire lady turns me around to look me in the face. Hi, I squeak. You're not gonna eat me, are you? The vampire lady pulls me to her and hugs me. Baby. Baby? She thinks I'm her. Oh boy, now she's patting my back. Wait a minute. Now's my chance. I quickly make like a little mousy and start scurrying over the vampire lady's shoulder. She starts roaring as I drop right behind her. I run right to a car and look in the driver's mirror. Mary Worth, Mary Worth, Mary Worth. Mary Worth. When the vampire lady has me again, she's giving me odd looks when she sees light coming out of that car mirror and into me. Soon she's looking right into the face of Mary Worth, who easily passes right through her hands. The vampire lady's real mad now. She tries warping behind Mary, but my ghostly friend only has to float away from her. She utters one of her spells to cause the door to the security station to open up. Chunker suddenly steps out. Oh, thank you. Whoa! Yeah, I guess Chunker still ain't used to seeing Mary. Mary glances his way and utters another spell. A jacket appears on him. You had best leave here. Chunker looks at the vampire lady. She'll just appear and grab me again. Mary faces the vampire lady again. Ah, yes, you are quite right. Mary utters one more spell. When she finishes, the vampire lady suddenly stops dead in her tracks. Her eyes are up in her head now. Then she falls onto her side. What did you do, Mary? I ask her. Mary and I can talk to each other through thinking while she's possessing me. I simply uttered a spell to render her unconscious, at least in her own mind. Mary thinks back to me. She will sleep for a time. We can't just leave her here, I quickly point out. I am aware of this, Madeline. This creation is far too powerful to be contained in a prison. Creation? Now I'm confused. Mary tells me that this scary vampire lady is really a monster right out of Frankenstein. I end up seeing how this monster came to be and what all she did. Then I remember the original story myself. Mary, can you put her at one of the poles? I ask. Maybe if she's there, she can't harm anybody. Mary raises her hands and utters one more spell. This one takes longer this time. When she's finished, the vampire monster's gone. I'm hoping she'll want to stay where you sent her, I say. Perhaps with no one around at the South Pole, she will be at peace, Mary tells me. Now Mary turns to Chunker. Thank you. he stammers. Do not fear, Brian Chunk. Look over my shoulder. Chunker looks past Mary and sees the others are coming back. Mary floats us away and is soon out of sight. We use another driver's side mirror to make a quick switch so I can come back. Now I gotta act like I've been trying to find him. Chunker! I call out. Maddie! We both run to each other and hug. Just then, Harmony Mirren pulls up and sees us. The others get out and come to us too. Then I feel my leg getting squeezed and see little Stuart. Ariel looks at me now. You really did good with that little goober, Mouse. Maybe he's better off letting you babysit him. Then Harmony honks the horn. We all turn to her. Don't even think you're off the hook, she snaps. Do you realize how much damage has been done to my mall and to this vehicle? What damage? Chunker asks. What damage? Harmony shrieks. Then she points to the main entrance. How about the... What? We all look and see the main mall entrance is fully restored. Even the SUV is fixed. Harmony shakes her head. No, 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 she points at me. You drove this vehicle right through it. I shrug. Don't look like it to me. But you drove this vehicle right through it, Harmony repeats. I was sitting in the back seat. Don't know what to tell you, lady. Then Ariel tightens her fists. And we are done when it comes to your mall. Harmony points right at her. Oh, no, you are not. You are all going right back inside and finishing with the Christmas decorations. Otherwise, I'll call the police right now. Ariel tightens her jaw now and waves her off. Go ahead and call them then. After the night we've had, I'd say we're done here. Carter stands with her. Also, keep in mind that we saved you earlier, so I'd say that makes us even. Harmony comes right out of the vehicle and tries to get us to go back inside the mall again. Again, Ariel speaks up. We're only going back in to get our phones. After that, we're leaving. When Harmony tries imposing her will on us again, we all come together. Now she's realizing the numbers game. Ariel points to her. Give us our phones back, now, or we'll break into your desk and take them back ourselves. Then I'm feeling something in my back pocket. Whoa, Mary got me my phone back. How did you get that? Harmony demands. I locked all your phones up. Seeing we all got our phones back, I quickly use mine to call home. Mom picks up. We talk for a bit before we hang up. Mom's coming to get us. Harmony tries one more time and pulls out her phone. I mean it! I'll call the police! Ariel again stands up to her. So call them! You heard, Mouse. We're going home. Like Carter said, we saved your life. We're even. Now leave us alone. And then I finally see Stuart has a fountain soda in his hands. Probably got one at the gas station. He walks away from me and heaves it at Harmony. It explodes on her head, making her shriek. Then she looks right at him. You wicked little brat, she yells. And for the first time ever, far as I know, Ariel actually praises her little cousin. Good job, you little goober. Stuart looks up at her and laughs his mischievous laugh. Then Harmony points right at us. You are all barred from my mall. Don't you ever return here again. Fine by me, Horton replies. Won't be much here after the holidays are over anyways. Harmony growls and marches right back inside the mall. It ain't much longer before Mom comes and picks us up and takes everybody home. Epilogue. When Mom pulls up to the gated Mirren community, little Stuart don't want to go. At first he's fighting Ariel, but I quickly tell him, we'll see each other again. That makes the little guy happy enough to where he finally goes with Ariel. Thanks, Mouse. See you Monday, Ariel tells me. And thanks, Mrs. Donnerly. You're quite welcome, Ariel, Mom replies. Later, Ariel, I tell her. Mom finishes dropping everybody off at their houses. Carter and me are the last ones since we live next door to each other. Carter thanks Mom. After we say goodnight, he gets out to head to his back porch. When Mom and I get inside our own house, I yawn. Mom and I say goodnight and head upstairs. It feels good to be back in the mouse hole again. I get changed for bed and hop in. I pick up the mirror I keep on my nightstand so I can talk with Mary Worth. "Did you have something to do with fixing up the mall?" I ask her. "Let's just say that miserly woman cannot hold anything against you," Mary tells me. She shows me the inside of the mall, which is completely decorated the way Harmony wanted it. I smile now. Thanks for getting us out of trouble. Again, what's important is that you remain out of trouble. I doubt that with our track record. Trouble just seems to find us, I say. So it seems. Then I have a thought. Can you show me if that vampire lady's still at the South Pole? Certainly. Mary's face disappears, and the giant vampire lady reveals herself. She seems to be okay with being where Mary sent her. I guess being a vampire or monster or whatever she is, she won't freeze. She just looks like she's lost something. When I'm done looking, Mary's face reappears in the mirror. Mary and I talk for a little bit longer before I feel I can't stay awake anymore. This is a good place for me to say goodbye. Don't worry, we'll definitely be back with some more adventures. And soon. Well, my spookies, another adventure of Madeline Donnerly. And of course, Mary Worth. I personally love the concept of it almost being like a superhero story, except with the spirit of a wrongfully executed witch. But that's just me. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I want to let you know, we have a lot more where that came from, not only regular episodes, but we have 2 more novellas, just like this one, ready to rock and roll this Christmas season for you. And I sure do appreciate you tuning in and spending your holidays with little old me and my band of merry authors. It's also worth mentioning, I have a brand new podcast which we published an episode of right here on the feed called Do You Even Movie, which is a podcast all about films, not just horror films, but film in general, although we do cover quite a good amount of scary flicks. So if you get a chance, check it out at doyouevenmovie.com or wherever you get your podcasts. I would definitely appreciate it. And you know what else I appreciate? Our Patreon podcast boosters. Folks who pay just a little bit more every single month on Patreon to hear their names at the end of the show. And they are Johnny Nix, John Callan, Bobbletopia.com, Megan Hua, Julia Kirsch, Brent McCullough, Steve King, Karen Weemet, Jack Kerr, and Craig Cohen. Thank you all so much. And if you want to join that list of names, now is a perfect time. We have 91 patrons, and I am dreaming of 100. Head to weeklyspooky.com, click on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get access to the new bi-weekly Strickfield series, The Weekend. It's like a slasher film, but also a book. A bunch of teens head to an abandoned campground and, well, I think we all know where we're heading from there. So go to weeklyspooky.com, click on Patreon. Please sign up if you can. We really do appreciate the support. But now I got to get out of here. We have so much more content for you this holiday season. So for myself, for my producer Dan Wilder, my executive producer Rob Fields, and my composer Ray Mattis, I will talk at you next time.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to find your way back next week. But for now, you are safe. Trust me.